and welcome to a very short video. So today I'm going to show you the work in progress, or almost the near finished product of BubbleCat. So I'm going to show you how much of a massive change BubbleCat has gone through since the time that I started. So initially, as you guys know, I've been working on a tier 2 emoji behind the scenes, and it has been taking me a very long time to do. I believe that with all of the time that I've spent into it, it has become sufficiently like so much better. I just can't even tell you how much I had to really try, but I'll show you a good example of exactly. So as you guys know, this right now is currently the new BubbleCat. It took me actually probably a good 8-10 hours to get it to look just this good. From far away it looks even better, but it's supposed to be highlighted very bright around the face, so that way it shows really well in the video. And not to mention in the Twitch video, the Twitch emotes. But yeah, I'm gonna show you guys real quick all of the crazy changes BubbleCat's gone through. So BubbleCat initially, when I had first designed his idea, I kind of had his face looking a little funny. So he actually kind of started off looking like this right here, and I'll even upload it so that way it'll be a little more visible. So this was initially BubbleCat's first design, and then after the redesign of BubbleCat, I had put him through about right here was his new whatever, open the main file. But yeah, this was his second remake over. I had gotten rid of his, funny looking face right here. And now BubbleCat looks like this in number 3. So in number 3, I kind of had some problems with shading him properly. And so this was initially number 3, was right about here. And he just kind of had these kind of dark eyes and everything. And, he looked good. It's just, he looked funny from up close. I couldn't really tell what it was that was bothering me about it, but it was just probably the way his highlight was. And so even his ear was dark over here. His eyes were just kind of red, and it was just, the closer you look at him, he just looked a little plain, and I just was having such a problem with how plain his face looked. And, even though he looked pretty okay from far away, I just couldn't really come to accept it. So that was his next makeover, was number 3. And now that BubbleCat has gone through so much change, this is where number 4 came in. So BubbleCat number 4 had become this. Now this one I kind of changed up a bit because it was just a little bright. I think that right about here, I just had a bit of a problem with BubbleCat being a little too bright around the face, especially when I uploaded it. BubbleCat was just looking just a little bit too, I don't know, just vibrant, So now this is what BubbleCat looks like as number 5. So we got 1 right here, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is the finished product, or at least the near finished product. BubbleCat does look substantially better, especially in the emotes. And I just went through so much trying to get him to look like this. I will show you all of the videos that I've been doing behind the scenes. This right here as an example was one of them, and I just spent so much time kind of just wasting it. So let's get rid of this, and let me turn off my camera just real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So right here I just kind of started doing all this reshaping of his face. And this was, I believe, for Bubble Cat number 2. And it just wasn't, you know, just like by the time I even got to like trying to metalize Bubble Cat, I just kind of felt like it just didn't look good. You know, I just couldn't figure out how to shade Bubble Cat. And even when I tried to metalize Bubble Cat, just things weren't going right in this video. And I just, you know, this is kind of like all the metal, you know, see that? Like, it just doesn't look good. And so now, in the third day, I kind of just started trying to change up his look again for the next few hours. It was like a 2-hour video. And we'll take a look to see. So, you know, I just kind of figured Bubble Cat needed a new design. So I started changing up the eyeballs, making it like less thick around here on the eye. And I even changed up like, you know, his inner eye, just changed up his mouth, because I felt like this little squiggle mouth was just not doing too well for me. And let me put my camera back up so that way you guys can see me. There we go. And, you know, I really didn't like this squiggle mouth, so I started coming up with this idea to, like, kind of do a, you know, big, like, face, you know, just this face. And I thought it looked good, and so I started shading in his mouth, and even put in, like, this new Band-Aid. Like, tried to figure out how I wanted to color Bubble Cat, and this is where number 3 started coming in. I started giving him like these kind of reddish eyes, but it was really supposed to be trying to shade him. I even like changed up his bald head into what now had hair, you know, and I just kind of felt like, you know, I was struggling to be comfortable with this design. I felt like brown was just too plain, so I started adding in the white. I even tried thinking of changing Bubble Cat into kind of like a bluish cat. I tried changing him into a kind of like a nocturnal looking cat, even a white cat, and it just wasn't going well for me. So here's where change number 4 came in. I was just like, fuck it, you know, I just need to try something different. Or wait, oh, this is the introduction video of like me trying to change him up. And so now, today, this is today's video, and this will be the last one. So I was like kind of you know, uncomfortable with his look, and I was like, you know what, we gotta do something. So I started adding this new outline. I was like, I don't want the black no more, you know, I want like this nice color that can kind of make his outline more lifelike, you know. I didn't want him to look like kind of like an old PNG, like from an old like Nintendo game where they had like heavy thick black outlines. Even like in old anime they do very thick black outlines, and I was just like, I need to change him to look more lifelike. So I was like, you know what, let's just give it a try. And so I started shading in a whole new outline over here on the right side. If you probably see my mouse, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but hold on one second. Let me see if I can get the mouse to show up. Yeah, capture cursor. Okay, so you know, I go over here to outline right here on the right side, and I put it above his body because the initial reason that I had his body outline was because I put the mouth on top of the body, the nose above the mouth, the eyes, and then everything. So that way, if I color his body, it won't go over the eyeballs, it won't go over the mouth, it won't go over anything. And so at that point, now, whenever I shade him in, like change up his body color, it won't go over the outline because it's layered and it looks great. So that was his finished product. I was like, oh, this looks great. This looks like much better, especially once I look at it from far away. I even thought about changing his mouth. I was like, you know what, let's do it. So now he has an outline, right? And he just looks better now. Just way better. I wanted to do it to his eyes and but I was like, you know what, it just looked funny. So I kept his eyes black, and I think it was probably the best idea for him. And then I was like, you know what, let's add back in let's just add back in like all of this stuff. So after I finished his outline, I started to consider the idea of like getting rid of all of this mess that you see right here, because I was just sick of this mess. And so I grabbed his original color and I just shoved it onto the the whole entire body's original color right here. Just, get rid of all this shade. And now that I had the outline up on top of layered, I didn't have to worry about like, retracing the outline in case something goes wrong. And yeah, I was like, it still looks like a football. So I was like, let's get rid of the white. Just add in more vibrant pink. I put in like these rosy cheeks for Bubble Cat. So I was like, let's try a rosy cheek, right? And that's where I started adding in like the little blush, then his white again. And at this point I was like, you know what, we really need to like try to get the rest of it, because I feel like his face was too plain. And so I added more white here. Now Bubble Cat was like too bright. I was just like, he's too bright. Also, I gave him his tummy a white color. I was like, his tummy needs to be white. And then I started adding in kind of like the shading around his arms to kind of darken the area. Started lightening up the ears, darkening around the forehead. And now I could finally like get rid of all this black that was here. You see all this black right here? Because you kind of think of it as like a spray paint that you're just erasing. And since I have the body below the outline of his red right here, it won't erase the outline. So it makes it easier to color around it. It makes it easier to erase around it by layering everything. And so, I tried uploading Bubble Cat later, and the first time I did it, he looked a little too bright, and this is why I darkened his face. If you notice right here in the video, he's kind of like, he's just too bright. So I was like, you know what, we gotta like kind of darken some of the areas. And so I added in but then now he lost his white on his head right here, because he had one right between his band-aid and his eyeballs. I was like, oh no, I can't have that. So I added it back and I started shading it again. Next thing you know, now Bubble Cat looks like this when I upload it. And this is the new like Bubble Cat, and I think it looks much better. It's just now I can metalize him onto a token, and I still have a little bit of things I need to do to Bubble Cat. Like I want to put some out, like some design on him. Like maybe he has stripes, maybe he has I don't know, scars or a bruise or a boo-boo on his head or something. And that's what I want to do now. I want to add his clothes maybe, or perhaps this is just his base design. So with it being a base design now for Bubble Cat, I might just stick with this as the initial. And unfortunately, because I'm only a Twitch affiliate, I'm not going to be able to upload more tier 2 emotes, and I can only upload one tier 3 emote, which is going to be Limb. And Limb is in the works right now. I'm still working on Limb, as you guys know. Right now, Bubble Cat was my my main priority, because I needed to get tier 2 done. And there's only one spot for tier 2, so I was like, okay, let's do that. Limb is actually... Let me see if I can find Limb, because I have Limb somewhere around here. So this is the Limb coin. Let's see if I check over here in the videos. I'm pretty sure I have Limb somewhere around here. Well, yeah, I think this was Limb right here. So Limb, I barely even started drawing her. Limb is going to be, this was only like me doing probably like a couple minutes of drawing, but Lim is going to be a little child. I have to make her look more like a child. She looks like a teenager right now. So there's going to be some things that are going to happen in the future coming up. So just expect it, you know, to be a big change. I'm going to, you know, be working a lot more behind the scenes, but, you know, I'll get back into gaming here pretty soon. Probably tonight, actually. Now that I feel comfortable with all the crazy changes that have happened, you know, I feel great, and just, I can sleep. I can actually sleep knowing I did something good for once, you know? It's actually just open up all these things that I'm working on, or all these changes that have happened, because I want this to be the new, you know, thumbnail. It's gonna look nice. Just before I end the video. Hey, the fuck? If I was that bird, I'd be like, what the fuck? You know? I'll just put that there. Just put that one there. Number 2. Got number 3. Number 4. Got number 5 right here. And now, close that one. Close this one. Close that one. We could put Lim right here, because Lim is going to be the next big thing. Well, also, let's also actually open up this window right here. Let's do a new view on number 5. There we go. That way I can put a nice big one in the middle right here. And that will be the thumbnail. Happy. I'm really, really, really happy. Might even make this one a little bigger so that way you guys can see just in the thumbnail. And this will be all the changes Bubble Cat's gone through. Isn't that great? I hope you guys like the new Bubble Cat. I will be back to play more games tonight. Just, yeah. Now I can sleep. Feeling good. Feeling good about this. Everybody have a good night. Hope you like the new audio. Hope you like the new Bubble Cat. And hope you will eventually get to see Lim be created too. Lim's gonna take the longest, if anything. Probably 2, maybe even 3 times longer than Bubble Cat ever did. But expect a lot of great emotes coming out eventually. You know, just in due time. I'm gonna make them all. Alright, everyone. Have a good night.